It was a quiet afternoon at the Highway Security Hub, a small roadside outpost nestled between long stretches of empty desert and looming mountains. The hub was a vital checkpoint for travelers, offering a rest stop for fuel, food, and repairs. For local security officer Ben Matthews, it was also his home base, a place where he watched over the isolated stretch of highway that was prone to traffic, accidents, and occasional criminal activity. Ben had served 2 tours in Iraq before settling into civilian life. At 34, he was calm, disciplined, and unwavering in his commitment to protect the people around him. He wore a simple security uniform now, his military buzz cut a stark reminder of the man he used to be. He'd found peace in the monotony of his job, keeping things running smoothly at the hub while helping drivers in need. But his peaceful routine was about to be shattered by a group of reckless bikers. The Steel Serpents, a notorious biker gang, were known for their rowdy behavior and their love for pushing boundaries. Led by the imposing figure known as Talon, the gang was feared for their loud, dangerous antics. They rode into the security hub in the late afternoon, their motorcycles revving loudly, throwing up dust in the dry desert air. Their arrival was never a good sign, but Ben had seen them before on the outskirts of town, causing trouble, disrespecting authority. Today, however, they were in for more than they bargained for. Talon, a hulking figure with long, wild hair and a weathered leather jacket, sauntered up to the counter, his gang fanning out behind him. His eyes were sharp, scanning the hub with an air of superiority. "Heard this place had some cold beer," he said, grinning, his voice dripping with challenge. "You got any?" Ben looked up from the desk, his expression calm but unreadable. "This isn't a bar, Talon. It's a security hub. You can fuel up and be on your way, but I suggest you keep it respectful." Talon's grin faltered slightly. "Respectful? You've got to be kidding me. This whole place is a joke," he sneered, his voice rising. "What are you going to do about it, soldier boy?" The bikers began to circle, sensing tension. The sound of revving engines outside intensified as more gang members poured into the hub, their faces filled with arrogance. Ben could feel the air change. The situation was escalating fast, but he remained perfectly still, his training kicking in. He knew how to deal with aggression, how to stay calm in the chaos. Talon took a step closer, his eyes narrowing. "You're just some ex-soldier trying to play tough guy in the middle of nowhere. I've got an army behind me. What's a lone man like you going to do?" Ben stood up slowly, his posture straightening, his eyes locking with Talon's. There was no bravado in his stance, just quiet strength. "I've been in worse places than this, Talon. You're out of your league." Before anyone could make a move, one of the bikers, a young guy named Ricky, started to approach the counter. Ricky had a reputation for being hot-headed, and it looked like he was ready to throw a punch. Ben didn't hesitate. In one fluid motion, he grabbed Ricky's arm, twisted it behind his back, and slammed him face first onto the counter. The sound of Ricky's grunt echoed through the room. The other bikers froze. Talon's eyes widened, surprised by the sheer speed and precision of Ben's move. The once cocky gang members now found themselves questioning their next move. Ben stood over Ricky, who was struggling beneath him. "You want to test me too?" Ben asked, his voice calm but laced with authority. The tension hung thick in the air, the gang members glancing at each other, unsure of how to react. The biker community was built on toughness, but they had underestimated Ben, a man who had survived some of the harshest conditions known to mankind. The biker gang's bravado suddenly seemed small against Ben's stoic presence. Talon, his bravado waning, gave a low growl. He motioned for his gang to step back, signaling an end to the confrontation. "We'll leave for now," Talon said, though his voice lacked the usual confidence. "But this isn't over, soldier. Remember that." Ben didn't reply. He simply released Ricky, who scrambled to his feet, rubbing his arm. "Next time, I won't be so lenient," Ben said, his voice even. "Get out while you still can." With a huff and a few muttered curses, the Steel Serpents reluctantly mounted their motorcycles and sped off, their engines growling in the distance. The dust they kicked up hung in the air long after they left, but Ben didn't watch them go. He simply returned to his post, his eyes scanning the horizon as if nothing had happened. The workers and travelers who had witnessed the confrontation slowly came out of hiding, their eyes wide with awe. One of the truck drivers, an older man with a weathered face, approached Ben. "You handled that well, son. I've seen bikers push people around before, but you didn't flinch." Ben gave a slight nod. "Sometimes, you just have to show them who's in charge." He wasn't looking for praise, he was just doing what he had been trained to do. In his world, peace wasn't achieved through talk. It was earned through actions. And today, Ben Matthews had reminded the Steel Serpents that no matter how tough you were, you could always mess with the wrong person. From that day on, the Highway Security Hub earned a reputation. Not just as a place for fuel and food, but as a place where no one, biker gang or otherwise, could come in and mess with the wrong soldier.